Hello and welcome to Record Sports Hotline Live with me, Daniel Caw, and I'm absolutely over the moon to reveal that I'm not joined by Keith Jackson tonight. I'm joined by Record Sports Andy Newport and Fraser Wilson. Guys, how you doing?
Very well, Daniel. Thanks for having us.
I think I don't want to tell tales while Keith's away, but I think this is definitely an upgrade. I'm just saying what people are thinking.
Listen, who was
Your team are in the building, pal.
Everyone's thinking Dream Team.
Exactly. No, I'll let you be the judge.
Let them judge about 25-7. Right, first place to start, guys. It's the international break, as we all know. Scotland are in action in Zagreb. When is it? Saturday night, Saturday evening. Fraser, I know you were at the press conference yesterday. Was it Kenny McLean that you spoke to?
Kenny McLean and Ben Doak, yeah.
How we had the full Ben Doak press conference on the Hotline Live last night. I thought he spoke.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Not?
We got the broadcast version. We got
right,
it ourselves for 15 minutes after that, which was great.
Right, we'll play the game.
I don't know what it said to broadcast, to be honest, but it was an actual privilege to be able to sit down with Ben Doak, who seems to have been on the periphery, or certainly in our thinking, for about 2 or 3 years now, but never really got the chance to speak to him. So it was just a privilege to actually get the chance to speak to the young man. It's hard to, you have to pinch yourself. Remember, the guy's only 18-year-old. You know, it's 18-year-old dad only just left home and still trying to figure out how to cook up, how to heat up a tin of beans. But here's a guy that's ready to go out in front of the nation with the nation's hopes on his shoulders, and hopefully end this horrendous run that Scotland find themselves on. So it's got quite a lot pinned on his shoulders, but he seems a really grounded young man. And no, it was great to speak to him. And yeah, obviously at the other end of the spectrum, we've got Kenny McLean as well, who's in tomorrow's paper. Plenty to chat about, Daniel.
I thought Ben Doak, as you say, Fraser, for an 18-year-old, I mean, he just seems so relaxed, so confident, and so confident in his abilities as well. One of the guys asked him, "Do you feel the pressure?" You know, but nah, it doesn't bother me. Nah,
I think he's been really well advised, but I think he's also got that natural kind of, don't know if gallus is the right word, but that's what I like to describe these wingers that seem to have the X factor in Scotland, isn't it? It's got that gallus nature on the park, certainly, but maybe a wee bit of it off it as well, because he was describing, obviously we asked him about the pain of what happened to him in the summer when he admitted he was dreaming of making his Scotland debut in the biggest stage of all at the Euros, and then with just days before the plane left for Germany, obviously injury deprived him of that dream. And to be honest, he knows. Who knows if that chance will ever come up again? But he said he just reverted to being the wee guy from Dalry in Ayrshire, out in Glasgow watching the games with his pals and going home early for the Hungary game. Ultimately, like the big team went home early for Germany as well, unfortunately. But he's grounded. But certainly when he gets on that park, as he showed with his debut against Poland last month, there can be no stopping him. He's got some turn of pace, the wee man.
I'm really excited about him, Andy. If I was the Scotland manager, and I'll shock you both, I'm actually not, right? But I would start him in Zagreb. I don't think he will start. I don't think Steve Clarke will start him, but I would love to see him thrown in and just saying, look, go and see what you can do.
I mean, we've had this conversation a million times before. I don't think that's Steve Clarke's style. I'm with you. I tend to think that this is the run we're on. I think I said this the last international break. I just think that we're in a kind of bit of a rut. We've been a wee bit stale, and I think that, you know, throwing a wee somebody that will give you that freshness and that energy and that youthful exuberance that Fraser's talking about wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. And more importantly, the boy can play as well, as you say. He obviously comes off the bench and against Poland at Hampden and has a big role in, I think it was McTominay's equaliser. So this is a kid that is going to have a really bright future. And, you know, I think you look at the likes of Spain, you know, these nations never seem to be scared of throwing young players in when they're flying and when they're hot. And I tend to think that we maybe should do a wee bit of that as well. But you know, I don't think it's Steve Clarke's style. I think you'll maybe have to wait until the sort of latter stages of the second half before he gets a run out in Zagreb.
Would you start him, Fraser? Would you throw him in?
Oh, absolutely. I said that last month. I'd have started him last month. We need to break this chain of woe, isn't it? 14 games now with that one against Gibraltar.
That's a mad stat.
Look, these are two really difficult games, but we need a winning one. Bottom line, we need a win, because if we now go 16 games with that one win, we'll end up relegated for this Nations League Group A. We're already plummeted to 52 in the FIFA rankings. The draw for the qualifying for the next World Cup's coming up in the next month or two. The rankings obviously come into that. We've got look, we talk about having to prove ourselves in this big stage, and it's all fine and well saying that these games against the top nations will stand us in better stead in the future, that we'll learn from them, we'll get better. Well, we should be saying that for the last year now, because it's exactly a year on Saturday since we lost in Spain 2-0, and we were unlucky that night. But that came in the back of getting our backside swept by England at Hampden. And then after Spain, we went to France and get scudded 4-1. And since then, the momentum just seems to have completely gone out of Scotland. You certainly feel it for the Tartan Army. The players won't admit it. The players, Kenny McLean and Ben Doak yesterday, said they're still got full belief. But the facts are, the results are that the wheels have come off spectacularly. And it was there for all to see, unfortunately, in Germany in the summer. So somehow we need to break this chain of results, because it's horrendous. And look, Croatia 12th in the FIFA rankings. Great players. Weren't outstanding in Germany. And I always go back, we've actually got a right decent record against Croatia. I think they've won this once. Wasn't it that one time in the Euros, 2 Euros ago? Remember 11 years ago we won 1-0 over there and beat them 2-0 at Hampden in a World Cup qualifying campaign. And nobody expected that. Croatia were 4th in the world at that time. I checked earlier today. So it can be done. Despite all the call-offs and the fact that you could almost name a starting 11 out of the call-offs, we still have enough quality there. If everyone's on their game to go and get a result on Saturday, you need to believe that, because I go back to it, we absolutely have to end this chain of results. It's getting unbearable.
See, on that run of results, Andy, like, I'm not for a second advocating, Steve Clarke should be sacked or whatever. But see, any manager, he must be looking at that and thinking, most managers can't survive one win in 16, 18, 20 games. If it does go on much longer, I mean, where does it end, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, I think I said the last international break when we were discussing Scotland Hotline Live that this was a run that was getting to sort of decision time for the SFA. How many, the Nations League's an important tournament. It's, partly responsible for getting Scotland to the Euros in 2020 or 2021 when it was held. So I don't think we can be at the point where we can discount it. But if you end up coming last and you don't have that safety net of a playoff place to go into the World Cup qualifiers, then it means you're going in, without that insurance policy. So I don't think they can afford to be going into the actual proper World Cup qualifications series with this kind of form going on. I think something has to happen before then that allows us to get a wee bit of freshness, momentum back in. Either it's a couple of wins this month or next month, or it's a change of manager. I think it's too important to be going in and just being in this sort of malaise that we're in right now. So, listen, it's, I do think Steve Clarke deserves a wee bit more time in order to show that he's the man to take us into the World Cup, given what he has achieved. I think that also, he was really unlucky last month. You think about, he's a minute away from getting a point against Poland, were it not for 3 crazy, really bad bits of individual mistakes, he would have probably won that game. And then again, you're 2-3 minutes away from getting a result against Portugal in Lisbon as well, which would have been incredible. So we could be sitting here with 4 points. We're not, could have, should have, all that. But I think there was encouraging signs. And then I think you've got to take into considering just the injury list. I mean, we're sitting here with through the summer, you're probably talking about 11 guys out. Cal McGregor's out of the equation, is now obviously retired, but you're talking about Angus Gunn, Greg Taylor, Kieran Tierney, John McGinn, Lawrence Shankland, Jack Hendry, Nathan Patterson, Aaron Hickey. There's somebody else I missed, I'm sure, in there. But You know, these are guys that have been, you know, crucial to Scotland down the years, and none of them are available right now. So again, that's got to be taken into consideration. So if we can get a result, I think that makes it all the more impressive on Saturday night. But I do think we're reaching the point now where if we get to March and we've not won a game other than that Gibraltar game since, what would it be, 2023, then perhaps, you know, it might need something that needs to be looked at. But I do think Steve Clarke deserves certainly this international break, and perhaps even the next one, to see if he can get things going again.
Aye. And to be clear, I love Steve Clarke. I think he gets too much stick. I hope we, you know, obviously I hope we win both these games, but it just does seem a bit obscene when you were listening at there, Fraser. 1 win in 14 and the win was against Gibraltar. I mean, it's just, as I say, it feels obscene.
It's worrying me. Like John Carver said earlier in the week, we might have to take a bit of pain. What was his turn of phrase again? You know, we might have to withstand a bit of pain. Supposed to want to hear that now. I hope he means maybe in game pain and soak up a bit of pressure. It's getting to the point we can't take any more defeats. I mean, what's the point in qualifying for Group A? To glorify and jumping above England in the Nations League only for this to happen, to lose all 6 games, that'd be unthinkable. We need to stop the rot. I come back to that argument that we're learning for these defeats playing against the bigger nations, but that's been a year of it now, and I don't see any evidence that we have learned an awful lot, certainly when it comes to individual errors, gifting goals, and ultimately costing us points.
Mm-hmm. Well, the only other thing on the international front I wanted to get your guys' take on was the TV blackout, because it's the first Scotland matches this century that won't be shown on television. They'll be shown online. We got a lot of fans in touch, to be honest, pretty much raging about it. Let's see. Sorry, I put up the wrong comment there. This is John Davidson, who's written in saying, very good, we get entertained by the England game, been shown live on STV, but with their home nation playing away in Croatia, we're unable to view the game. Madness. Dr. Robert Pender, am I the only one fed up with these international breaks? Let's cut them back a bit. And this one, Alan Donaldson, what an absolute shambles. It was bad enough having to fork out extra to see Scotland games broadcast on yet another channel before Viaplay's finances ran out, but now they can't even strike a deal to allow folk to watch it on the telly. I just hope my broadband signal holds up. And just finally, Charles Maxwell, they say football is a spectator sport. That's unless you're a Scotland fan. Despite a guaranteed audience of millions of real-time viewers, so-called broadcasters continually hide. I mean, guys, I get it's just a symptom of the changing kind of media landscape, but it does seem a bit mad that the games aren't on the telly at all.
I wrote the story yesterday. I think the thing that will really stick in the throat of the Tartan Army is that, you know, I think it's tonight, and at STV you're going to have the England game to watch, and not only, I mean, you know, like in that Scotland when they were on, bumped onto ITV4 last time, the last two internationals last month, and now this time you're having to go onto YouTube to get it. You can't even sit and, you know, if you've not got one of your smart tellies, then you're going to have to watch it on your phone or get your laptop out. I mean, I just think it's a poor state of affairs, and, you know, just have to hope the broadband signals sort of stand up better than Steve Clarke's defence has of late, or otherwise folk will be missing out. So, no, I think I can understand the frustration. I just think, as per usual, we seem to be, when it comes to the TV stakes, we seem to be sort of treated as second-hand citizens. You know, you get to say England, they've got the prime time, they're on prime channels, and, you know, I mean, have we even been told the 5 players are going to put up commentary? Are they going to put up a punditry team? Is there going to be any analysis before or after, during the game? Or is it just, I mean, it sounds like it might just be like a world feed type thing where you might just have one guy with a microphone giving the commentary. I mean, you know, club TV channels offer better coverage than that. So I'd hope that you know, the bare minimum they're going to give us, you know, a wee bit of punditry, some co-commentator, a wee bit of analysis before, during the game. But I'm not holding my breath, does it? I mean, even in terms of things like us, we like to, if we're up against deadlines, we can pinch the quotes off the TV and get them in the paper for first edition. But I'm not even sure we'll get any post-match interviews on TV. So again, it just looks like we're being sort of really short-changed in this front. I think it's really quite disappointing.
And Fraser, will you have the iPad out all linked up already?
I will. I'm no IT expert, so I'm absolutely panicking about the old buffering problems. You know, you just see Scott McTominay bombing into the box, and then that big circle of doom appears on the screen. Everything freezes, and 2 minutes later, you realise, hang on, Scott McTominay is going in the box. How come we're 1-0 down when the feed comes back? So, it just cheapens it, doesn't it? It just cheapens the whole thing.
It just seems mad to me. I just can't believe that there's not one broadcaster's. I don't know.
Is that no prime time for sport? Saturday 5 p.m. on a Saturday, is that maybe a problem? I don't know, but can he watch it in the pub? Will it be kind of laptops and ladder tops? I mean, what?
I like that, Fraser. That's good. Well done. That's good.
Sorry, holding that one in there.
He's had that saved up, Andy. He's had that saved up.
No, I think I got it the wrong way around. But anyway, can you watch it in the pub? I mean, do you have to watch it in your house?
I read today that there's some pubs that aren't even allowed to show it because of the rules. And
it's just cheap.
Cheap and nasty. Some pubs can't show it.
Some pubs, I think, I don't know why, because of YouTube licensing laws or something like that, they technically aren't allowed to show it. I mean, I don't know.
Listen, away off on a tangent, but on a similar sort of theme, I heard that the Friday night Premier Sports Cup quarter-final between Motherwell and Dundee United, all that the broadcaster did that night was show Motherwell TV. So you had the Motherwell TV commentators commentating to a wider audience, and obviously when Motherwell scored an injury time winner with Motherwell TV commentators, you can imagine the uproar for Dundee United fans. So I don't know where we're going with some of the broadcasting in this country at the moment for Scottish football, but this one's a right slap in the face to Scotland fans. Really cheap.
It's like we're getting charged more and more for less and less quality. But before we move on from Scotland, Robert, watching live on YouTube, says Tierney, Patterson and Hickey should not be picked again. We need to look at alternatives. They're all injury prone, spent more time in the physio table than playing for their clubs. I mean, to be honest, if they were all fit, I'd have probably all three of them, and certainly in the squad.
With the three of them at top of their game for all 3 games in Germany, we might well have been talking about history being made. I don't go along with that one at all. Poor Aaron Hickey's not kicked the ball for 12 months now.
I know.
I'm sure he's not just sitting back enjoying the wages rolling in.
Well, yeah, you're not a big enough nation to be knocking back anyone. You know what I mean? We need every ounce of quality we can get in our team. So if these guys can get themselves fit for the next, international break, or be it March when the World Cup qualifiers kick off, then you come, boys. We need you back.
Just before we move on from Scotland, guys, predictions for the Croatia game. Hit me. I won't hold you to Portugal because that's, we'll see the Croatia one first. But how do you think we'll go?
Hotline lives away that one, isn't it? Right. We need a win, so go 1-1.
We need a win, so we'll go for a draw.
I think I'll sit in the splinters as well and go 1-1 as well. I'm not sure with the injuries that we've got enough to win over there, but maybe a wee battle and draw might do us.
It'll be
it would be a bad result, but it's still no breaking that chain. But isolated, it would be a pretty decent result. That
it'll be 1-0 Ben Doak, 87 minutes. So if you want to nip to the bookies, you're welcome. Right, some domestic stuff I need to throw your way, guys. We had this story online today on Record Sport that reportedly Jimmy Thelin has been eyed up by Wolves. We actually took a lot of stick for this because it was like, as soon as he starts to play the Old Firm, out come the stories. But I believe it was a story from down south that we simply put up. But surely, Fraser, surely to goodness, he wouldn't even consider leaving. In fact, I'll throw a couple of comments at you rather than me saying it. Jim says, even if they were interested in JT, wouldn't leave this early into the job. It was hard prizing him out of Sweden initially. James Johnson, he'll be tempted at some stage, but not at the moment. You set out his contract with the Dons, go to a much bigger club. Wolves, get a grip. I get that, right? And I was going to say surely he won't go this early, but the Premier League, when they come calling, the money, the competition, it's difficult.
I'm just going to say 2 words to you. Michael Beale.
Aye.
Knocked back Wolves and then ended up leaving QPR a couple of weeks later to go to Rangers. What I'm saying is that, it's been a bright start. Don't be surprised if the Premier League riches or a bigger club do get interested in him and do fancy a punt on him, and that appeals. But I'm with you. I think he would be. I think at this stage, why would you leave an Aberdeen team that are flying when you're your reputation can only be further enhanced. You know, if he really takes this Aberdeen team deep into the season with them still competing, and then you know there'll be bigger prizes than Wolves on offer for him, who look to be a bit of a mess right now. So I think if I were him, I'd be stink put.
Agree with that, Fraser?
In this day of algorithms and data and supercomputers, there's bound to be in every club's list of potential next managers. Is he not the only manager in the top leagues across the whole of Europe that has won every single game now in all competitions? So it doesn't get much better than that if you're throwing stats into a computer. But what is it? 13 games in all competitions. Phenomenal start, but I think the big test is this month. And more to the point, no, it's only started, whatever he wants to call a project at Pittodrie at the moment. It's only started. He'll be wanting to see this through, at least give it a year or two. His feet are hardly under the desk at the moment. So, no, it's exciting times up there. He's roused everyone. He's brought everyone in. The fans are buying into it. He must be loving life at the moment. So, no, nothing about the Wolves' job other than maybe the boost to the bank account will appeal to Jimmy Thelin at the moment. Surely not.
We did a piece on Record Sport Online today, and it was about shock title winners since the turn of the century, roughly. You've had teams like Montpellier in France, AZ Alkmaar in Holland, Bursaspor and Deportivo, Leicester, obviously. Andy, it seems like to me, anyway, that it's a bit surprising there's not at least been one team that's really got it together in the last couple of decades and at least taken Celtic and Rangers or one or the other to like the last weekend or something like that. I just feel that even by odds, maybe this is the season that Aberdeen maybe it's the perfect storm. Although saying that, Celtic do look pretty ominous, but I don't know.
I think there's certain things that go against them. Obviously, just the huge financial disparity, even between your Hibs, your Hearts, your Aberdeens, and Old Firm. The gap is massive and has only grown bigger over the last,
39 years?
39 years, yeah, since Aberdeen last won it. And then I also think that they played each other 4 times. I think maybe goes against, because it means that, if you are nicking tuck and you're doing well against other teams, if Aberdeen go to Celtic Park twice or going to Ibrox twice, generally speaking, that's maybe, the record down there hasn't been great. So instead of just being 3 points, you get back up, you're talking about 6 points. If they lose both games, maybe more. And so I don't think that, I think that's part of the reason why you haven't seen this up here. And they don't have the European exertions that certainly Celtic are going to have, and Rangers too. So I still just think it's so unlikely. The Old Firm, even Rangers aren't going great guns this season. They've still got the resources to bring in somebody in January that, let's be honest, Aberdeen probably won't ever be able to afford. Aberdeen's record transfer fee is still, is it Paul Bernard? So we're talking about 96.
I think it is.
They just never get close to beating that. So I would just, I can't see it. I think he's doing a terrific job and he should be applauded for the job he's done. But I think history tells you that sooner or later, certainly Celtic will pull away. Listen, could they get second? That's a debate to be had. Hearts did it a couple of times. Aberdeen did it when Rangers came back up the league. I think that is a target for them, with Rangers in this transitional phase. But I think Celtic will win the league by quite a margin come the end of the season. I wouldn't be surprised me if it was a double-digit winning margin by the time you get to me.
I agree that Celtic will probably win the league, Fraser, but could they maybe finish in front of Rangers, Aberdeen?
First things first, Paul Bernard, great memory, Andy.
I know, that was a great shout. I know it was.
That's going back 30 years or so, is it not? League Cup winner with the Dandy Dons, though. What was the question? Sorry.
Well, Aberdeen might not win the league, will they finish above Rangers, perhaps?
Gee whiz, how long's a piece of string?
Right under the bus. There you go, Fraser. That's a lot.
Hospital pass.
Turn off your Twitter.
It's just so early in the season. They've not played either of these clubs yet. Ask me again.
I know.
I'll make no predictions until after they've played everyone 3 times. I mean, Aberdeen had a better start to league season 9 years ago when they won the first 8 games. I mean, they're seven wins at the 7 at the moment. They won 8 out of 8 in 2015-16, including beating Celtic in that 8-game run. Oh, aye. But still ended up 15 points adrift at the end of the season because it's such a grueling season. As Andy says, having to play... I mean, Rangers weren't in the league that year, remember? So they came second, but they were still a distant 15 points off the top. And that was Ronnie Dylas Celtic, you know. It wasn't Brendan Rodgers Celtic. So, fantastic story up in Aberdeen at the moment. They're flying. They're good. Thought they're winning games different ways, but I just thought they were quite lucky against Hearts at the weekend. Hearts were kicking themselves to take nothing for that game, but still Aberdeen got the win again. Maybe in a month's time when they've played Rangers and Celtic and then Celtic again in the Cup semi-final, that'll be a better place to judge then. But to answer your question, I definitely don't see them sustaining a challenge for the title. Potentially splitting Old Firm, that is possible. Certainly look at the current state of play, I would say that's possible. And that'd be great strides taken up there. That would be quite an impressive feat.
It'd be amazing, eh? When I've wrote piece back on in December, November, I'll put it to you again. Right, other domestic things I'm just going to run through very quickly because there's no point in labouring on them too much. Sticking with Aberdeen, they're obviously playing Celtic at Celtic Park on October the 19th. Brendan Rodgers has won a lot of praise on our social media channels for revealing that Celtic went against the Premier Sports deal to show that game. Kenny McIntosh, good for Celtic to take a stance, take the fans' side, who wants an 8 p.m. kickoff on a Sunday night or a 5:30 kickoff. Premier Sports don't care about fans. And Paul Neal says, fair play to them. There's a lot of empty seats at Ibrox last Sunday night. It doesn't work. And the other Celtic thing, Andy, Paul Tisdale, a former Bristol Rovers manager, reports today he's coming in. He's going to be the new recruitment guru. I mean, that's a nice hat he's got, to be fair.
He's a snazzy guy, isn't he?
Yeah, I know. It looks like a jazz player or something. But it's a weird one. That it strikes me as weird. And finally, Brendan Rodgers appears, from the outside at least, to have wrestled control of the recruitment. And all of a sudden, the ex-Bristol Rovers manager is coming in to oversee it.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously been an area that Celtic have not struggled with, but they've had their ups and downs over the years. I mean, for every Matt O'Reilly that's come in, there's been an Eden Home that's come in that hasn't got off to the same sort of success. So
to be fair, Andy, this time last year they'd just come off the back of an absolute car crash of a window. If you think about it.
Yeah. So I can understand. There's been sort of a clamour for a long time for Celtic to sort of modernise how they go about this, and to go maybe down a more analytical route. Maybe that perhaps this is it. It does seem strange that they've turned to somebody who was, his managerial career is sort of low depths of the English ladder. But listen, I'm sure the people at Celtic will know far better than me this chap's attributes. So listen, if they think this is the way it's going to go, then we'll just have to wait and see. But I do think they are right to want to look at and take a more, perhaps a data-driven approach. I mean, the days of just sort of plucking guys out and based on what you see in the eye, I think they're long gone. So you do need to have a more rounded approach, and I think this is what Celtic are looking to do. While
we're on the Old Firm, actually, I'm going to throw this at you, Andy, because I know you report on Rangers quite a lot. Drew Ferguson has written in saying it's time interim chairman John Gilligan put his head above the parapet and told the Lifeblood fans what the Rangers' strategy is to invest in the team. And I'd like to know when the recruitment to the ever threadbare hierarchy will take place. The silence is deafening. And of course, this is in reference, I think, to Craig Robertson, who's departed earlier this week. James Kirwan's written in as well, saying the club is keeping the fans in the dark. Why are they jumping ship? Certainly to the outside, Andy, it just seems almost. Who's even there anymore? There's so many empty roles.
Well, that's the thing. So it does from the outside. It appear that they're rudderless, but speaking to people around the club, they're quite relaxed about things. Okay, there's not a permanent CEO, there's not a permanent chairman there, but you do have John Gilligan, you do have George Letham, who's one of the major shareholders. Both those guys are retired now from their day jobs, so they're the guys that are in there right now, help me run the show and make sure everything is pointing in the right direction, and obviously getting this recruitment hunt for a new chairman, a new CEO, new chief exec. So they're quite, there's no great panic about it. They're going through a recruitment process. They've obviously got a headhunting firm in that are going to be making a pretty penny off them right now. And obviously, maybe if they have to get involved and find a new head of or director of football operations, whatever Craig Robertson's title was, then they'll be taking another commission there. But this is going to take a few weeks, maybe a couple of months. I think we're maybe talking about another 6 weeks to 2 months before we start seeing appointments being made. Told that there's a pretty decent list of candidates being considered. Some guys from down south, some interesting names, and I think the thing that needs to be factored in is, as much as there's a process in terms of interviews to be done and sifting through all the applications, that if you're getting a top class, decent operator, real good candidate, they're probably going to be in a job already. So you then have to factor in their notice period as well. So that's why it's going to take some time. Obviously, they get a long way down the road with Jim Gillespie from St Mirren. For whatever reason, he decided to withdraw, and they've had to go back, not to square one, but sort of back to the drawing board and go through the process again. That's for the CEO. Obviously, they'll be looking to bring in a chairman as well. Dave King had his thoughts in that one, but again, the people in charge at the club right now are pretty content with the way that they're going. Believe that they can get the right people to come in, but again, it's just patience. As much as there's patience required with the team and the way that they're performing, some performances are good, then they drop off a wee bit. It's going to take multiple windows for Rangers to get themselves into a shape where they can really compete again. Again, the fans are going to have to just bide their time with the off-the-field appointments. It's going to take time to get the right people in place, but I think that the fans will agree if they're the right people, then they're worth waiting for. Obviously, you can't wait forever. They do need to make these appointments. They're important, crucial roles at the top of the club that are, have a major influence in the direction the club is going in. But if you're going to get the right people, then they should be prepared to hold their horses until they can get them in place.
That all sounds perfectly reasonable, obviously. But Fraser, as Drew says in the comments, is it maybe about time that John Gilligan or whoever come out and maybe shared a wee bit with the Rangers fans what the script is?
We did the press conference, was it 3 weeks ago? I went up.
He did, to be fair. He did.
So he tried his best. They didn't really get an awful lot of direct answers out of him. Sounded like a CEO was maybe imminent. Well, no imminent, but at that stage, maybe a month or two away. So certainly sounds like there could be somebody in there in the next few weeks. And that's where it starts, doesn't it? And then you'd like to think the rest will follow. It's just Philippe Clement I feel sorry for in this situation, because he's the face here of a Rangers, a club that's kind of struggling a wee bit. He's the face of it. And underneath him, the structure just seems to be falling apart with guys leaving their jobs. I mean, you got no CEO overseeing the overarching strategy of the club. You've got no permanent chairman. You've got nobody in charge of the academy, which is massive for the future. Now the director of football operations is up and leaving at the end of the year. I mean, imagine being an organisation that doesn't give you the tools to go and do your job properly. So Philippe Clement's delivering results, but still get on a domestic level at the moment, but still getting it in the neck. And it seems to, like you said there, it seems to be the only guy who's really coming out publicly and answering questions. It's just, it seems to be pushing against the tide at the moment. And Rangers really need to get this sorted, because it's a bad look. And it's funny that it's the Director of Football Operations. That's a strange title. We don't really know what it means, but is that not the title that Tisdale was apparently getting at Celtic, which is ironic? The thing about him is he's been in at Celtic for the last 2 months anyway, isn't he? Scott Burns had a piece in our paper in August that he was helping with the recruitment, so this is sort of just a more permanent job for him. And Brendan Rodgers has always said it repeatedly through the summer that after that window was done with the summer window, it was then about tidying up their recruitment structure and improving it, streamlining it, modernising it. They lost Mark Lowell and Joe Dudgeon earlier this year, and now it just looks like Tisdale might be coming in to streamline that, and as Andy said, make use of this analytics and algorithms and supercomputers. Everything seems to come down to a supercomputer. I wish I could get one of these things to help me write stories.
I tell you could watch the Scotland game on it now.
Aye, well, that may be helpful. Going back to the
don't worry, Franz. This AI thing it's on the way. It's in the post. Once they come up with the right intros, we're on it.
Well, listen, guys. On that note, that brings us to the end of Thursday's Hotline Live. Andy, Fraser, it was an absolute pleasure. It was lovely having a little break from Keith. Don't tell him I said that, but let's just.
Good is listening in. Hi, Keith.
Hi, Keith. Thanks for watching at home and sending in any comments. We'll be back to do it all again on Sunday. Fraser, Andy, thank you again, and thanks for watching at home. Cheers.
Cheers.